Are you tired of the same long, drawn-out news and entertainment and politics and blah, blah, blah? Time to switch it up. A straight-to-the-point fun twist on your news, politics, entertainment, and everything in between. That's what you're looking for. You're in the right place. Welcome to Fire Black with your host, Tommy D.
Yo, 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 what is up, my people? This is your boy, Tommy D. I am coming to you live in the great state of New Jersey. Yeah, I said that with a straight face. I'm kind of serious. I don't see nothing wrong with my state. Don't make fun of New Jersey. Shit. Anyway, this is Fire Black Podcast, and of course, I told you my name is Tommy D. Yo, make sure you check me out on fireblackmedia.com. That's fireblackmedia.com. Also, at the end of this broadcast, we will give you the links to, like us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Make sure you do that. Or you just won't see all the episodes, Also, YouTube. Don't forget YouTube. We're on that, too. So make sure you listen out for that at the end of the broadcast. And make sure you hit us up. You got to follow us. You got to know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I am glad to be back. I tell you, it has been an eventful 4 or 5 months. Really? I mean, my head is blown out. For some of y'all that don't know, that means I lack the haircut quality that I used to have. I have what they call a TWA. That's a teeny weeny afro. Yes, I am a card-carrying TWA'er. I, trim my goatee myself, so I am not furry in my face, but my hair is have been unattended to. The grass is growing, my friends. And I know a lot of you are experiencing the same situation, being in that lockdown, trying to keep yourself or others safe. Well, at least for the people that actually are thinking about others and themselves, how did this mofo of coronavirus become political? It is crazy, right? I mean, people are literally risking their lives and others because, well, we know their president has required them to. And you have to be loyal to your party, even if it actually starts to affect your health care or the health care of others that you might affect with this virus. I had the unpleasure of knowing and seeing people affected by this virus, and it's deadly. It's a terrible death. It's terrible to die alone in a hospital, or make that one last phone call to your family, or watch them on video as your life slowly deteriorates into nothing. So that's pretty sad, and I myself would like to avoid that. Being an African American male myself, we're in that group that don't do too well when we get affected. So I rather play the odds and just avoid that altogether. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. I mean, it's like that's like a death march. You black and you got that? Your chances, not too good, my friend, not too good. We have some states where, just 10, 20, 11% of the population is African American, and yet they account for over half of the infections and deaths. Wow. Do that math. That means basically in my town, I have a 100% chance of getting it. And then based on how many of us are in my particular town, I have a 100% chance of dying from it. If we go by the numbers that are trending throughout the country. So I'm good. I'm going to wear my mask. You know, no big deal. Not hurting anybody. But then we have the people saying, oh, I don't want the government telling me what to wear. How dare they? I know. Government telling me what to wear. Oh, the government shouldn't be trying to tell my kids they have to wear masks. I'm in charge of my kid's health. They will not tell me what to do for my kid. I will decide that myself. Do your kid go to school, by the way? Because if they do, guess what the government's been telling you like forever? That your kids have to, and they pull out this big sheet, have all these shots if you want to go to school. And guess where your kid's at? In the goddamn school. So you have been doing exactly what the government has been telling you for the health of your child and others around them. So to then now turn around and say that this mask is just, and oh my God, it's terrible, it's unforceable. This is, it's so hard to enforce this. I mean, everybody saw that picture, right? Of that girl that posted in her school. I guess it was in, um, what was it? I think it was the ATL. Not sure. But she posted her school, and all these kids were in the hallway. None of them wearing masks. Mind you, the school had to close up because, infection. Imagine that. They kept on saying that kids cannot get affected because kids are not human. Like, really? Like, for some reason, they were trying to say that the kids somehow were not going to get affected. No, the kids wasn't infected or had a high rate of infection because guess what? They were in a goddamn house. Schools were closed. They were inside. As soon as we let them back out, guess what happened? Exactly what normally would happen. They would get infected. Let's not even start with the college kids. I mean, UCLA just the other day, after only a week being open, only a week, they had to close up because of infection. So, the cat's out the bag. The theory is now in practice of actual facts that yes, children can get affected. Now, I mean, one can try to make an argument. I don't know. I'm not a doctor of preschoolers or younger, of how much they spread it. But how can you sit there and say a middle schooler on up to high school, on up to college, that somehow that they're immune from COVID-19? It's really? Why? How? What's different in their body, their system? Yes, they're young. Yes, they'll probably be able to have the ability to fight it better than an older adult, like most diseases. But they're going to get it, and they can transfer it to other people. That's just a fact. I mean, if you're a parent out there, most of the school year, whatever type of cold you as a parent got, or type of what was it, stomach infections, you most likely got it from your kid. You know that. Your kid was sniffling, come home, a few days later, you got it. I can only relate having pink eye one time in my life from my child. So to sit there and suggest that somehow they were going to be blocked immune, or ones that won't be carriers of this, is almost crazy, right? I mean, what is the price of life, really? I mean, what is enough for you as a parent to decide that the price might be too high? That I don't want to risk not even a percentage, be it if it's a low percentage, of my child becoming seriously ill and or dying. Is your politics that important to you? To you, that you are willing to actually risk your child? Is it? Because it almost seems like it. It almost seems like when people start to ignore common sense because their politics dictate to do so, is one thing, right? That's one thing. Like, I'm going to follow my party. I'm going to do what my party says, no matter left, right, whatever. If they say it, I'm going to do it. But where's your line? What line do you not want to cross? Where do you say, you know what? I'm all for my party. I support President President this, President that, President Trump, whoever is in power. I support him. But when it comes to my child, my children, that is a bridge too far for me. I, will support Democratic Party, whatever else, Biden, Kamala. But if those mofos try to tell me all's good and the infection rate is probably over, 5% or more, and I see people around me, getting sick or whatever else, I don't care who you are. I might still support you. But when it comes to my child, my children, the bridge is too far, my friend. And I just don't understand how people can honestly take their children and put them in harm's way or risk because of their politics, because of their view of politics, because of their support for a particular candidate or president. Really? Your politics, your candidate, a candidate, a politician is literally more important than your child's safety? Your only way to support your candidate is to throw your kids to the wolves? Wow. Wow. God bless you. Because, my goodness, that is the most self-centered, selfish act I ever could think a parent can do to their child. Our children trust and love us unconditionally. And when you put them out there, they feel that they're safe, that mom and dad knows better than them. And so when I'm out here, I know that mom and dad is looking out for my best interests. And for a lot of us, that's not the case. I mean, look at Florida. I mean, my God, the school board's fighting. They in court as we speak right now, trying to get an injunction. Right now, at Wednesday, August 19th at 10:24, Florida schools is trying to get an injunction against the governor, trying to force them to start in class. I mean, I get it. I get for a lot of Americans, they depend on school. I think a little bit too much, because we got to the point that schools have become a way of babysitting our children while we're at work, while we're doing other things. I get it. They need the education, 8 hours of freedom, get a breath. Kids got to do something, mix around with other kids and all that stuff. And they and here's their answer, to all this, right? They first talk about, well, kids need to go to school. It's a must. Abuse is on the rise. kids are hungry. And then I sit there and think to myself, so the only way we decided to fix these issues about kids being hungry, kids being abused, is send them to school for 8 hours? None of y'all geniuses ever thought that we should fix those issues no matter if they go to school or not? Shouldn't it be that none of these kids should be abused at home in any circumstance? Because you're saying your only fix is they have 8 hours of reprieve from being abused because we sent them to school. Not, let's figure out a way to make sure these kids are never abused. How about also they talk about hunger? Some of these kids only get their meals through the school system. One, what the hell happens during summertime? Not a concern, right? Because if y'all was really concerned about kids going hungry, there would be major programs in place for all year round. There will also be a way to try to figure out how to make sure these kids that depend on school lunches for meals, to make sure we have programs in place to make sure they don't have to worry about food if school was there or not. We should be trying to feed these kids all the time. The excuses we're using makes us sound dumb as hell, because it means that our only fix for abuse and hunger is to send them to school for 8 hours. So the school is for feeding, avoiding abuse, and for babysitting. Excuse me. It's not corona. I just got choked up there. Don't think I'm sick. I'm good. And I wear my mask. Anyway, that is how we define schools now. You know, the pediatric doctors come out and say, oh, it's the mental health and everything else. And, you know, we live in a day of technology. My kids have not been out of touch with their friends. That's just a fact. You know, they talk to them while they're playing their games. They can video chat with them. They can use the cell phones. Now, I mean, we was talking in the 80s or 70s. I would say, yeah, I guess they're, you know, some of these kids might be out of touch or something. And yeah, some kids don't have access to internet, which is also another problem. We sit here and talk about these problems when they become problems. We should have been working on this a long time ago. There should not, this day and age in schools, where teachers give all the time, and I know my kids come home all the time, where there's a website, a link they have to go to do something. They have to go in and print out something. What about those kids that don't have that access? This should have been a problem that should have been worked on a long time ago. We wait till a pan-fucking-demic. Then all of a sudden, oh, these kids don't have access. Yeah, they didn't have access for years. Y'all didn't know this? What? I mean, teachers be giving kids links to stuff. How was they supposed to do it? Kids doing, trying to find homework and do homework from their cell phones, for God's sakes. And we have these big, giant television companies, Comcast, Dish Network, and all these other ones that have their finger on the pulse of giving access. Y'all make enough money off of ripping people off with 1 million channels of repeated broadcast stuff. And now y'all taking it a step further. Now y'all going to have all these plus channels. And what the hell we got the regular channels that we had to pay for? Now we need plus channels to get some other viewing of shows. Rip off. So you can't tell me y'all can't do a solid for the inner city communities or people in rural communities to get them internet service, y'all would slow it the hell down anyway. But at least they would have some type of connection. Y'all can't give that. They have to apply. It had to take too long. All of a sudden now we're thinking about that. So yeah, I have a problem with the excuses of why kids need to be in school, because these excuses should have been addressed a long time ago, and they shouldn't be reasons why kids need to go to school. A kid should not have to go to school because it's their way to escape abuse. A kid should not have to go to school because it's the only way for them to get a meal. A kid should be going to school for education, not for mental support from their teachers, not for a meal from the cafeteria. These things should be addressed in the community, and they should be addressed a long time ago. Not now, oh, we need to send kids back to school, and then they start listing these reasons. Really? I was just floored at the fact that they said, kids are being abused. Okay, so what is 8 hours of school doing? We say they less abused? Oh, we can catch it. Really? You catch it because they go to school, but we don't address it. We're not addressing it. So we send them to school. Oh, well, kids, that's their meals. Oh, really? We can't address, kids getting fed? We're not concerned about it because we send them to school? Well, they go to school so they can get their meal. I mean, the excuses are just weak. Weak. And then the people fussing over mask. What? Mask? This lady's talking about she can't breathe. You are not no fucking George Floyd. You can breathe through that mask. You don't have a goddamn foot on your neck, a knee on your neck. You have a mask on that is porous. You can breathe through it. There's no craziness of I can't breathe. I can't. Oh my God, I'm going to choke out. Whatever craziness that y'all think of. Not real. Fake news. You're doing this just because your president says so, right? That's what you're saying. You want to support your president. You think that makes him look bad. I would think it would make him look, strong. But who am I? I would think if he handled the pandemic well, did well and everything else, he probably would have skated right into a second term. Now it's going to be a struggle because he blundered this. He blundered this response to this pandemic, and people are sitting there following him down the road, losing their lives. I mean, everybody saw the convention that started Monday, the Democratic National Convention, right? and look, they had one of the people on. It was a lady that was talking about her father and how her father, got coronavirus because he directly believed what Trump was saying. Lost his life. But to change subject, since we're on the subject about the convention, did you see that Monday? Man, Michelle Obama, whew. Yo, it is what it is, right? I know everybody's like, well, people's talk about, telling me like, everybody's talking about that is what it is. What did it mean? I said, you didn't hear, Trump talk about the deaths and say it is what it is. No, what? Well, it just so happens, folks. I'm gonna hook you up today. I'm gonna let you listen to, what Trump said, right? So you can get an idea of what he said, and then I'm gonna, come back and let you listen to again what Michelle Obama said, and then you can see how stabbing that statement was. But if you don't know the content, then you missed that whole point that she made, right? So here's our president of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
I've gone to your rallies. I've talked to your people. They love you. They listen to you. They listen to every word you say. They hang on your every word. They don't listen to me or the media or Fauci. They think we're fake news. They want to get their advice from you. And so when they hear you say everything's under control, don't worry about wearing masks, I mean, these are people, many of them are older people,
What's
Mr.
your
President.
definition of control? Yeah. Under the
It's giving them a false sense of
right
security.
now, I think it's under control. I'll tell you what.
How? 1,000 Americans are dying a day.
They are dying. That's true. And it is what it is. But that doesn't mean we aren't doing everything we can. It's under control as much as you can control it. This is
Okay? All right. Now, remember, did you hear that? He said, it is what it is, folks. You know, it is under control as much as you can have it. I don't know what that means, like under control as much as you can have it. I guess is under control if you actually don't do anything. So that's weird, right? I mean, you got over 170,000 people dead, and he said it is what it is. Kind of a weird statement for a president, right? So, you know, the kickoff of the Democratic National Committee was Monday, and the keynote speaker, of course, was Michelle Obama, and she hit him where it hurt. I mean, she was, just picking him apart, and then she got to this part where she threw that right back at him, real subtle. And, a lot of people missed it. And then, then you had the other half that knew exactly, from what he was saying based off of that interview with Axios a couple weeks ago. So I'm going to play what Michelle Obama said, and then we can talk about it, right?
Wrong president for our country. He has had more than enough time to prove that he can do the job, but he is clearly in over his head. He cannot meet this moment. He simply cannot be who we need him to be for us. It is what it is.
Well, it is what it is, right? So she just took that and threw it right back at him. And, in true form, Trump did not like that. But I don't know. I just don't understand us as Americans, that our politics started to become more important than common sense and then, safety and care for each other. We don't seem to care anymore about our fellow man. It was a saying that said, history don't repeat itself, but it rhymes. Not mine. And I don't know who the hell said that. You go to college and everything else, you hear sayings and quotes and stuff all the time. And sometimes you remember the quote, you just sometimes just can't remember. So, hit me up. Somebody educate me on who actually said that, which is, history don't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And I'm saying that to say this. We had the same situation in the 1918 Spanish flu. I mean, we had the anti-mask league, where they were upset about wearing masks. They used to talk about how it looked. San Francisco had, big fights over it. They decided that, the best way to protect everybody was to wear a mask. So, I mean, this ain't new science. This is very, very old science. Almost 100 years old that they figured out mask can, douse or slow down the spread. So this ain't nothing new that came out of nowhere. they also felt, socially distancing, closing down stores and restaurants. They did all the same things in 1918, Spanish flu. And we pretty much as Americans did the same damn thing. We just didn't follow. A lot more people died there. Thousands more. And the point is, we're going to possibly get to that point. The second wave of the Spanish flu is what killed a lot more people. And the fact that we are going down that same route where, it became political. We made public health, a political football. And it's sad. It's a shame that we will put ourselves, put people, loved ones, our elderly. I have a 79-year-old mother. I would never in my life put her life in danger because of my politics. Just because I love her more than any goddamn politician in this world, that I will do whatever it takes, proven or unproven, just to make sure she's safer. If it means you tell me that my chances of spreading the virus is lessened, my chances of me getting the virus is lessened by just putting a little cloth covering on my face when I'm out in public, going to stores or restaurants or something, and that will help protect my mother, why wouldn't I want to do that? Why wouldn't I want to protect my mother? Why wouldn't I want to protect, kids, family? Why wouldn't I want to do that? Because of a politician told me? Really? You are that intertwined with your politics, with your party, that family don't matter? Oh, we have become a very sad sack of shits. We sitting here complaining about not being able to do this or do that. I'm down with small businesses. I understand, it's a struggle to run a small business. And to have your door closed for a day sometimes could be crazy. But here's my thing. Don't blame the government. Don't blame your governors, your mayors, for saying that you had to shut down. Blame the people around you. Blame your customers. Blame all of the other citizens that refuse to do the minimum to make sure we bend this curve, break the curve, lose the curve, whatever we do to the curve to allow you to open back up and get the business. I'm wanting to throw my money at the first barber I see. I'm ready. But it requires me as a citizen and others to do what is needed for you to get your business back up and running. And I'm willing to do that because I want for you to succeed. I've seen a lot of small businesses in our black and brown communities or other rural communities struggle during this time. And I want to support them. That's why I do. I like to go to, if it's a restaurant and they have drive-through, like we have a local pizza place called Pat Pizzas, and they have a drive-through open. That's all they have. They don't have the lobby open. But I go to that drive-through. I want to support them. I love that restaurant. Going to that restaurant for years and years. So just because their lobby is closed, I'm not going to not support them. And I wish everybody do that. If their lobby's open, great. Do what you need to do. Protect yourself, protect others. But if they had a drive-through, if they do, Uber Eats or the other crap of things that you want a stranger to bring your food, fine, so be it. I wouldn't do it. I'm just saying, short, quick story. Was that Kentucky Fried Chicken? Get my chicken on. This was before the pandemic. And the first time I ever noticed, like, the Uber Eats, it was a guy standing there. He had a little satchel, and I didn't know what he was there for. He just had the little satchel open. I'm like, boy, he wants to keep his food warm. And then I realized he was with one of those Uber Eat type companies or whatever. His clothes, he had jeans that were dingy, a shirt that was dingy. His hair was a mess, and his inside of his car looked like he was living out of it. There was old bottles of whatever. I venture to say that I think he was urinating and filling bottles and throwing them in the back seat. There was cups everywhere, trash everywhere, and this guy was taking the food, put it into his little thing, and this was who you were having bring your food. I mean, I always thought the concept of Uber was crazy to me. That, we were taught never to get into cars with strangers, right? And now we pay people, a stranger, to pull up and take you somewhere, and it's actually a multi-million-dollar company. I mean, people do this like on a regular. Everybody say, well, what's the difference with a taxi? Their license. They have a freaking picture. They have to be fingerprinted. Their license. They have a, you know who that person is. They have the minimum assurance needed to run a taxi company. And so that's a lot different than a stranger with probably just liability insurance and who knows what's going on in their life, picking you up from your home, drop you off to your job, workplace, school. It's a crazy concept to me. And we're complaining about masks. I mean, we do some crazy stuff, and we complaining about masks as being dangerous, too hard on me. I even seen some people were talking about it's against God's will. God gave us lungs to breathe, and how dare you put a mask over it? I'm like, what? Are you stopping breathing or something? What the hell are you talking about? I mean, some of the craziness that I've been hearing is nuts. What about one of the senators from Texas that got it? Then he was saying that he don't know, that he might have got it from his mask. Wait. You say that the mask had coronavirus? I don't get what you say. That somebody breathed on you and had coronavirus? If that's the case, the mask did his job. You just did your job. You ain't supposed to touch the goddamn mask. Put your hands in your mouth. I I don't know what he meant, but it was stupid. And this is the type of stuff that our politicians are feeding people. That's why we haven't got past this. How in the world we have a room full of people start chanting USA? We have a president hug the flag. He literally, and y'all saw it, hugged the flag. And we're sitting here, can't do a service for our community and for our country to put on a mask or socially distance. Are you not embarrassed that we have third world countries that are lesser than us, doing better. How in the hell we have Wuhan, China, the epicenter, where it all began? Did y'all not see the pictures of their large pool party? Because they have a infection rate of 0. The place where it started is doing better than the United States. We're like 5% of the population of this country, this world. And we have 25% of the infection. Are you embarrassed? I'm embarrassed. This is the United States of America. We're the best at almost everything. To suggest you're not embarrassed. I see people in the town I'm in. They have pickup trucks everywhere. And I see them with these big, giant USA flags, big, giant Trump flags, or both, riding in the back of their pickup trucks. They just flapping around. You know, I would think you should just put them on the flagpole, not the back of your truck. But whatever. I mean, I'm not a stylist. And you have that much pride in your country. So how does this not embarrass you? It's ridiculous, nuts even, that we have one of the worst outlooks in a pandemic. I don't know, people. It's a strange world. Strange thing we live in right now. But that's what I want to leave you with. I want to leave you with what it means to be a parent. Your responsibility, your care, your obligation is to the children you bring on this earth. No one else. So you need to think about that when you decide to send your children to school. I want you to think really hard about what is my motivation, what is my reason. And I tell this both for Republicans and Democrats. You know, if the infection rate, especially in that particular community or stuff, is low, below the 5% rate, which was the original CDC request, if it's below that 5% rate, there is no known infection outbreaks in your community, then you have to honestly think, why would I not send my child to school? That's for the Democrats. Why would I not? If it seems to be pretty good in my community, why would I not send them? You know, if for my community it looks okay, looks safe, the health officials saying that, you know, things are looking pretty good in our community, that's something you need to consider. You should. But that is not a lot of the outcomes for a lot of communities, a lot of colleges. You know, it's just kind of hard, especially colleges. You know, you got a bunch of young, dumb kids, teenagers, 17, 18, on up. You know, the first thing they want to do is party, get together, get freaky, do all sorts of crazy stuff. The school can do all they want to do, you know, social distance in classrooms, do all this stuff, modified cafeteria eating schedules, things, all kinds of stuff. But unless the college can follow each and every one of those kids or lock them in their dorms at nighttime to avoid them from getting together, having parties, doing all that stuff, they're gonna do bad, because the kids are not going to follow the social distancing. They're going to go out, they're going to party. And that's a proven fact. There is University of North Carolina, Notre Dame, all of them had to reverse opening because of that same situation. They had things in place in the schools and the classrooms and stuff, but when the mice were away, or was it when the cat's away? I don't know. I think it's when the cat's away, the mice will play. That sounds even better. When the cat's away, the mice will play. So when the school is done classes for the day, and the night comes, and the dorms empty out, and there's some off-campus partying going on, that's stuff that the college can't control. How can you? You can't enforce masks, right? So I say, when you send your kids to school, ask yourself a couple things. What am I sending them for? You might say, oh, education, they need it. They need the structure, da, da, da. Yeah, they can get that structure anywhere you make structure. We're parents. We are the structure. We can put that structure anywhere. That's the job. That's what you need to do. That's why you had kids. It's not just on the school to provide structure. So once you decide why you send them to school, you got to ask yourself, is it safe? Is it safe to send my child to school? Am I 100% sure? Because that's the only, yeah, you in any scenario, this day and age, you can't be 100% sure of anything. Your kid can get going across the street and get hit by a bus. Your kid can now, worry about getting shot in school. All sorts of things. But you can ask yourself, is my kid reasonably going to be safe? Might not be 100%, but are they going to be reasonably safe? Do they have reasonable protections to keep my kids safe? Now, here's another caveat to that. If the goddamn teachers are fighting to not go to school, that would be a telltale sign to me that it might not be reasonably safe. If these teachers in Florida lose the court case and they're forced to go back to school, you will feel comfortable sending your kid to school knowing that these teachers were forced to go in despite their concerns, despite them feeling that it's not safe enough? Because, they're teachers. Wouldn't they know? But you still send your kid? So you got to ask yourself that. And finally, you have to ask, and this is mainly towards the Republicans, Trump supporters, and you got to be honest, like Shakespeare says, be true to thy own self. So be honest. Be seriously honest, because this is your kid's life. So the only way that you can try to put yourself out of the frame of the politics of this, you have to ask yourself this question. And it's the only way I could think of that might get you to think a little bit more clearly of your choices. If this was during the presidency of Barack Obama, and he said, open schools and send the kids to school, would you honestly, and unfortunately, I think a lot of you that hear this won't be honest enough to even think of that question and be honest to answer it. Would you send your kids to school then? If this was different, if this was the same outcome, the same amount of people affected, same amount of people died, same scenario, and Obama sat there and said, yeah, we're going to open up schools. Got to get kids back to school. It's important. We got to get them back. Would you be the one then fighting to keep your kid out of school, or would you still have the same feeling and said, no, I agree with Obama, let's send them back to school? Now, if you say yes to that, then good for you. You have your convictions about school, send them to school. But if you are sitting there thinking, well, it's different if Obama said it, then guess what? You're making a decision purely off of politics, and you're risking your kid's life over that. Politics. Never in my life will I risk my kid, my loved ones, over any creature that crawls in Washington, D.C. Hell to the no. Would I risk my family's safety for a politician? That's just me. It's just me, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying what I wouldn't do. I'm just saying that I don't do something for a politician that all of their decisions are based off of politics, not health, not the care of my family, not the care of my kids. Just they're making political decisions. They're politics. They're politicians. That's what they do. So when it comes to the health and welfare of my family, I'm going to handle that myself. Thank you very much. But you know what? I digress. We have a long way to go, folks. So I'm going to be here. I'm going to be talking more. I know this was a little bland and serious, wasn't it? I know. I hate being serious. I know it's sometimes it's just too much. I'm hoping and praying that football season starts for the NFL. My Kansas City Chiefs. I'm hoping that they can have a great year. I'm worried because there's no uniformity going on, right? You got a few teams saying that they're going to have some fans. You have some teams saying, no, we're not going to have no fans. Then you have other teams that, I don't know what to do, and they haven't decided yet. So it is definitely no uniformity. It's not like the NBA. NBA really is, stepped up with the bubble and everything else, and they're all on one page. That's why, NBA is working. But NFL, I thought it was one unit, and they seem like they're, each team is making their own decision. It's just weird to me, so I'm worried that, that they're going to have problems like, baseball season was having. So we'll see. Who knows? I'm staying hopeful. I'm like many of you. I like sports, but I definitely care about life. I want, my football players, my team, I want all of them to be safe. They have families too. I don't want them to risk themselves, their lives, their families over a game, even though I love the game, but it's not worth their lives. It's not worth their family members' lives. So I hope, with all their money, with all the access they have to, medical staff and medical devices, whatever, that they come up with something that will keep them safe and be able to play the game safely, because I definitely want to see it. I know you do. So, folks, I'm about to get out of here. And remember, I told you, we're going to, on my closing, you'll hear all the links and everything else to Facebook, to Instagram, Twitter, also YouTube. Make sure you go like the pages, follow me. That's the only way you will see all of my different podcasts, even some videos, whatever. You got to see it there. They're going to be all on the Instagrams, the Facebooks, all the social media stuff. So, also, if you just, want to directly hit the podcast, you can always go to fireblackmedia.com. That's fireblack, BLACK, media.com. And you will see all the podcasts and even some of the old ones. I have still some, listed from when it was the impeachment hearings. We was talking about different things that was going on, in politics at the time. Jesse Smollett stuff, all that stuff from back then. You can still listen to that if you didn't get a chance to. Some of it was very entertaining. I would say so myself, because I'm a very entertaining person. So anyway, folks, I am out of here. Peace.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Fire Black with Tommy D. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit fireblackpodcast.com, on Twitter @TommyDLightPhoto, and on Facebook.com/TommyDLightPhoto. We'll catch you next time.